beautiful morning. Well, that soon changed and it stopped again. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now, I think we're gonna have a bit of hit and miss week this week. Lots of catchy weather and a lot going on because we're TB testing this week, but I'm not gonna bore you with that. I'm actually gonna get some hedge cutting done because Barley and I have been slacking. We haven't got any done yet, really. We've done a couple of little fields, but we've got loads of winter crops we need to get in. We've got some forage rye to put in, we've got winter barley to get in, we've got winter wheat to get in, and I haven't cut the hedges yet, so we really need to crack on. Oh, and here's one for you fact fans. How many miles of hedgerows are there in the UK right now? Well, if you want to find out, you're gonna have to wait till later on in the video. Apparently, that is called a tease. Oh, that didn't want to start. Firstly, I want to apologise if I sound a little bit rough today. If coming back from your honeymoon to find a lame bull isn't bad enough, the wife has also got COVID. She got it on Friday last week and I've been trying to stay away from her, but I reckon she's been licking me in the night or something because I can feel it just in my throat here. So I think someone's gonna have to call the knacker man and take me away. But until he gets here, this is the kind of thing that we're cutting. So we've got this hedge here, which is part of this field and it's second year growth. So as part of our mid-tier stewardship, we have to leave 50% of the hedges. Now it gets a little bit complicated. I think it's 50% of the hedges in the fields that you have stewardship options within. That's what is actually said on the paperwork. What that pretty much means is because we've got a flower and nectar margin here and up that hedge line over there, only half the hedges in this field get cut every year, which means that we have 2-year growth on hedges like this. That means that we get good berry growth on these hedges, so that some of these hedges will, when they're left, there's plenty of berries for the birds over winter. So we've got places like this where there's brambles. Obviously we're going to cut these ones, but there's brambles on the hedges that we won't cut, like the one over there, where the birds can get berries all winter, which is really good. But it does mean you have to be super careful not to cut back into the old wood when you cut it, because if you cut back into the old wood, it will damage the hedge. So it's all about sort of maintaining a good habitat for the birds so that you've got something good for them to nest in next spring. Now, I don't know if I've showed you the hedge cutter, but we run a MCCONNEL PA 6565, which means it's 6.5 meters of reach all there, and it's telescopic, so that bottom end will go out and it can reach further. That just means that it doesn't stick up so much when you're using it. And it's got a 65 horsepower motor on it, so it's pretty powerful, which is good. And we have these flails on here that are like a T-shape. One thing I love about this hedge cutter, amongst a lot of the things, but one thing I really do like is that I can reverse this head, so I can drive it either forwards or backwards. That means that I can use the back edge of these flails to cut all the rough stuff, so like the top on the second year growth where it's really heavy and we just want to get it down, and all the grasses and stuff, and I don't blunt the front edge here, which I can then keep sharp for cutting the top nice and level and cutting all the shoulders and that and getting it really neat. I've also got a 1.5 meter head on here as well, so I think 1.2 meters, which would take me to about there, would be your standard, but this is a bit bigger because we have bigger hedges and I like to make sure that I can get them all in one pass. First thing I do is I rough off the top of the hedge. This gives me a line to work to. I then cut the shoulder at an angle like I'm doing here. This means that the top of the hedge is significantly narrower than the bottom of the hedge. I then cut the shoulder on the opposite side. I do this sometimes when there is a ditch or a fence in the way and it's easier to cut it from the side I'm already working on. I don't travel very fast as that makes it more difficult to make a neat job. I then move on to siding the hedge. It looks like I'm continuing the shoulder down to the floor, which is what I'm actually doing. I think it's really important wherever we can to make sure that the bases of the hedges are as wide as possible in order to create the maximum amount of habitat on the farm for the wildlife and ground nesting birds that call them home. The final job is to pass over the top of the hedges once more to get a nice neat finish. My personal preference is to get the top of the hedge as flat as possible because it does wonders for my OCD and I have to look at it for the rest of the year. So it's always nice to look at it when it's neat and tidy, but you don't have to have it flat. I don't really think the wildlife care that much. And when we're done, we should have a hedge that looks something like this. Great for wildlife, an awesome backstop for any livestock that might be grazing in the field over the next 12 months, and nice to look at. All of which combined makes me a very happy little farmer. And the answer to that little bit of trivia from earlier on in the video is 500,000 miles of hedgerows in the UK, which last time I checked is a hell of a long way. But it's only about 50% of the hedgerows that were in the UK before World War II. So in the last sort of 80 years, we've lost around 50% of our hedges, which is not good news. Now, one of the main reasons for that decline in hedgerows is because during the sort of 60s, 70s, 80s, a lot of the big farmers took out huge amounts of hedgerows in order to make their fields bigger so they could get bigger kit in there and make it a bit more efficient, which makes a lot of sense. But then we didn't put anything back in the place of those hedgerows, which means that we lost a huge amount of habitat. It's also estimated that about 60% of the hedgerows that we do have left in the UK aren't in good condition either, so we really do need to book our ideas up. Now, I know there's going to be people watching this who are going to be saying, oh, we cut our hedges in this shape or that shape or in this style or that style, and that's cool because I know people have like box style hedges in some parts of the UK and whatever. But I like doing them this shape because I think if you can give an extra 6 inches of habitat this side of the hedge and that side of the hedge, it's like an extra foot. And if you think about that on every hedge on your farm, that makes a huge amount of difference. So it might be something worth thinking about and changing the way that you cut your hedges in the future if you've got the ability to do so. Right, I've just come back to the yard because it is lunchtime and I'm going to check out my latest Farmers Weekly article, which I have linked for you on the screen right now. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Why not subscribe by clicking on my face or check out some of the other content that I have available on my channel. Have a great weekend, whatever you're up to, stay safe and I'll see you all soon. Bye.